Part 3. Cabling. Before you proceed with the mounting of the operators, it is important to decide what cables you need and lay these first. A mains cable coming in through an isolator will be needed to supply power to the system. This isolator should not be more than 1 meter from the controller housing. The main supply must be fed via its own circuit breaker from the mains distribution board inside the house. It is always recommended to have the main supply to the system installed by a qualified electrician. If the installation involves 2 gates, you need to determine how to route cabling from the controller housing to the operator on the opposite side of the driveway. Ensure that the cable length is kept as short as possible. It is highly recommended that the motor cables are no less than 2 millimeters in diameter. If you are fitting an intercom and plan to trigger the operator from their handset inside the house, you will also need to install these cables. One cable running from the house to the controller housing and another from the controller housing to the intercom entry panel on the outside of the property. Allow for extra cores inside this cable so you can make use of the useful features supported by the Vector system, such as pedestrian opening, holiday lockout, gate status LED, and so on. Although the radio receiver can be mounted inside the controller housing, for optimum range it is suggested you mount this externally and as high as possible. An extra cable will be required for this. It is always highly recommended that you fit infrared safety beams to the system, in which case you will need to allow for cabling to be routed from the controller housing to both sides of the driveway. Note also that you need 2 sets of beams, one across the entrance where the gates are closed and one across the entrance when the gates are open. If you want to operate the pedestrian opening feature at the gate, a separate cable will be needed between the controller housing and a key switch, or preferably a keypad. With a double swing gate system, only the master gate will open from the keypad. Therefore, if a pedestrian has to reach their hand through the gate to operate the key switch or keypad, it must always be mounted on the opposite side of the driveway to the master gate. Refer to the cabling requirements section of the manual for full details on the cabling. It's always a good idea to use screened cabling for better protection against lightning. Make sure that all screen cables are securely tied to